Okay, welcome to the August board meeting for the Rocky Mountain chapter of ASTA. We have quorum, so we'll go ahead and get started. Robin, why don't we start with the minutes from last month's meeting?
Okay. Last month it was $46,095 in the account. There were about a half dozen suppliers who were on the wait list, and Jennifer was working on the ones who were the suppliers who had not yet paid. For the showcase, the advisor registration website is up. I sent out the registration email. Sally had requests for adding a second person to the advisor registration, and we advised that they should submit a separate registration so signing goes smoothly. Skylar was working on the happy hour location, and Sally asked that a request for volunteers be put in the next newsletter, which we'll get back to. In 2025, we talked about maybe a different location, and it would be nice to have the 2025 date and location locked in before this year's showcase. At that point, we had 23 advisors signed up, 2 of which were not members. There was a bunch of national updates about the virtual CPC meeting, the next year TAC conference in May in Salt Lake City, and ASTA PAC. We discussed the new VTA program, and we had a conversation about whether or not to charge members to attend events. And I don't believe we actually came to a decision on that. And for this meeting, Jeff said he wanted to have a discussion of the chapter's budget, what funds will look like at the end of the year, how money should be spent, and we can also look at the notion of charging for events, even for a nominal fee, and hike up the non-member fee. Sally asked if we wanted to do another disc training, and that was about it.
Cool. Any corrections from anyone? All right. Any opposition to unanimous approval?
Unanimous approval.
All right. We're good. Thank you, Robin. All right. Let us move on to finances. Jen, how are we doing?
We are doing very well with finances. We now have $46,000 in our bank account. We have almost everybody who I invoiced has paid except for 4 for the trade show. So that's really good. The ones outstanding are Greater Miami Convention Bureau, Israel Ministry of Tourism, Bahamas Ministry of Tourism, and Viking. So try to send a reminder to them to get them to pay for their table.
Sorry, Jennifer, who was the 4th one? You broke up when you said it.
Oh, the 4? Greater Miami.
Yeah.
Israel Ministry of Tourism, Bahamas Ministry of Tourism, and Viking. So the other news is that next Wednesday is the ASTA Treasurer Roundtable for the financial package due 9/30. That's all I'm aware of.
They gave us an extra month this year.
Yes.
Cool. All righty. Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions for Jennifer? Cool. Okay. Okay, so am I missing, other than showcase, which I'm kind of holding off on, was there any other old business or topics that we need to discuss before I kind of broach into a new topic area that kind of relates to some stuff that Robin mentioned? Okay.
Actually, do we want to talk about events? We got an email from someone asking about upcoming events, because she said that she didn't see any on the website. She only saw past events, which surprised me because I thought the 2024 Supplier Showcase at least was on the website. But she said it only showed past events. but we don't really have any upcoming events that are scheduled. So I didn't know how to respond to her. So that's the only other thing besides budget.
Okay. The showcase should be on it. So I'll double check that. I'll make a note of that because we did submit it. And if I need to hound Gwen, I will do so. They don't ever send a confirmation when they do it. Nor is there an SLA of when to expect it to be done.
I just checked the website, and the Rocky Mountain Supplier Showcase is on the calendar.
Okay.
Move forward to October, at least for me.
For our website or the national website?
Our website.
Okay.
So, and if you click on the Supplier Showcase, it shows the updated graphic along with October 2nd, 2024. So that's there. So I'm not sure where she was looking, but yeah, they're both. It's in both places on our website.
Okay. She was probably looking on the national site. We have to fill out a form. Gwen puts it on the calendar, and something might have gotten missed after I filled out the form. So,
and I was talking to Jeff before everyone got on. We don't have to go there now. We can later. But here's what we've got planned for the rest of the year. September was supposed to be the picnic that Mitch is in charge of. October is the supplier showcase. November, I do have Explora lined up for a virtual show or, presentation. And then December, we were going to do like we did last December. So I will get that to the Hales to get on the website, all of those things. But I don't know that we're really ready for the September picnic.
yeah. Okay. So I've had about 3 minutes to sort out how I want to approach this. Trish has raised there's a couple of things. One, this summer has been wild for all of us. And so I want to just put out an apology that I feel like I have not been, thank you, John, that I have not been as available to the team as I wish I had been. So my sincere apologies for that. Things get lost and working on fixing that. Had some personal matters, but generally speaking, the buck stops with me. So I apologize, particularly to the showcase team, and to Trish and to Robin around things that you have waited for me and I have not delivered on. I own that and will be fixing that. Trish has raised a concern around events and a couple of really good ideas or thoughts, particularly around what type of events should we really be focused on, and can we find ways to share the work of coordinating events? Right now, we kind of have an approach where kind of each person or each role kind of owns the whole thing. Should we be looking at sharing that more? Certainly making sure I'm not a bottleneck. And generally just, more than just one coordinator perhaps for everything, or something along those lines. So Trish, I don't want to speak for you, but I don't want to put you on the spot either.
Well, I mean, I'll speak for myself. I had emailed Jeff earlier this week saying, I don't know that I can stay event coordinator because I don't feel like I've done a good job. We had no events this summer. Some of that was, we had a couple of good ideas, and because I couldn't find a venue, we really couldn't do them. I feel at a disadvantage. I live an hour north of Denver. I don't know Denver. I can't find venues. And then I have to rely on other people to scope the venues for me. And, even if I were to spend a day driving down to Denver, I don't know Denver. So I don't have connections there. I don't know people. So I just feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. And so then I'm feeling very inept, and I don't need to have that in my life right now because I'm still learning how to be a travel advisor. So I offered to step down. I will still volunteer whenever you need me. But I also love working with you guys, and I'll do whatever you want from me, but I don't feel like I'm doing a good job as event coordinator. I do feel strongly that we continue on the path for business builders. With the internet, we do not need to bring suppliers to people. We just don't. I can tell you, this is how the fam came up with Jeff. Getting together with other travel advisors is awesome for everybody. We all, most of us work in our homes. And so anytime we can get together and just have conversations, but that takes a venue. Again, a place, something I'm not good at doing. If we want to hold one up here in the north, I can make that happen. So those are that's what I'm feeling, and those are my thoughts. So here we are.
Robin, thank you. And thank you for sharing, and thank you for coming today. Because I was worried we weren't going to see you.
Don't walk away. I want to do a good job. That's always my goal. And I really have love getting to know you guys. So let me know what I can do. I just don't want to be called the event coordinator and then have people go, we have no events in Rocky Mountain ASTA.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk as a team about this idea of reducing supplier events and maybe focusing more on casual things. If you've been to CPCs or heard Jasmine talk, she will always say axe throwing, because some chapter did an axe throwing event the week before she showed up, and she was still mad about not getting invited to axe throwing. It's hilarious. But there is something to that. And so, National is always saying it doesn't have to be suppliers. And I think suppliers is easy for chapters to do because a lot of them have those relationships. But Trish makes a really good point. It's unless there's something special to Colorado, like a Colorado based supplier or active BDM. And there's a few of them. We had the luxury, Riverside Luxury Cruises, because they're based in Denver. I know Globus has a major office here.
Rocky Mountaineer, that was nice.
Rocky Mountaineer obviously is based here, more or less. Who else am I thinking of? We have some great BDMs that cover the area. Ginny, who did the Palace Resorts fam, that Trish was just on, and Scotty, who's Alma Waterways, covers our area. He's very active.
Skylar and John, they're right here.
John are both based here. I'm not ignoring you guys. You're just part of the team. So, I mean, other than that list, do we need to be focused on that? Is there a need for that? Sally, you have your hand up.
Yeah. The good news about suppliers is they're fairly easy to book and they pay for meals. And so I thought at one point we were thinking we would do some suppliers and some business builders. The business builders are tougher to do. We've got money, thanks to Showcase. But the business builders, we need to fund. Like the photography one, it was coming in. If there's any food or there's any venue costs, we need to pay for that. So I'm thinking a mix is okay of some suppliers. Any reason for us to get together gives people a chance to network.
It's true.
And a chance to get together and have somebody else pay for it. It's nice now and then. I wouldn't do it every time, but I think I wouldn't count out suppliers. That's my vote.
It is true. I mean,
Yeah.
like Explora is new, so I think that they're a good supplier to have. So especially if we can focus on some of those like newer, or I don't know, I agree.
Do you raise your hand?
Yeah, this may be sort of opposite of what we're trying to do as one chapter, but we are kind of spread all over Colorado and Wyoming. What if we I'm just throwing it out there because it popped in my head. What if we occasionally did like a southern something and a northern something, to where, you know, maybe some Cheyenne people would go to Fort Collins or Greeley, or maybe some Fort Collins people would come to Cheyenne, you know, because then that would give the northern Wyoming people a shot at making it to something. I did put the showcase link on a Cheyenne Community Connections Facebook page. So nobody's commented, but I said, hope to see you there. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know I am putting the word out, but maybe that's a way to get us. If we know some local people, then maybe they'd be more willing to go to Denver once in a while. Just a thought.
No, that's a good point.
John?
Thinking kind of like specifically about a structure, I mean, we could aim to do one North event annually, one South event annually, and then 2 central events in person annually, and kind of, you know, split them up by 6 months for those central events. I'm happy to kind of help organize a South event because I live near, you know, Colorado Springs, Pueblo. So happy to put that in my ballpark, especially if it's kind of just a once a year sort of deal. It'd be easily bite size sort of thing. And then any other ones in the interim, in the intervening time, could be online events or just, you know, kind of informal socials.
Skylar?
And I think if I mean, I really do love this idea because I do know that we have demographics in North, South, Central, etc. I just think if we can also time it where maybe do more of like a luncheon type of scenario, especially in like the Northern, Southern, I would be so much. I mean, for me personally, if I felt like there was value, I would drive to Fort Collins. Would I drive to Fort Collins at 5 p.m. on a weekday? Totally different story. So I also think we have to take in consideration the day and the time as well. And that would be, I think that will be a big difference as well for people willing to drive, you know, further distance to get to an event for sure.
I like the idea of doing more social stuff. As Trish said, like, you know, it's nice to just be with your own people. And it's also something that we can invite suppliers to, because, you know, it's not a selling thing, it's a social thing, and you build those connections. The other thing that National's been starting to put on us is the notion of charging members for events. They've brought that up in a couple of the last CPCs, and I think that's basically their recommendation, is that all events should have a fee attached to them for members and non-members. I don't know as I completely agree with that, but what I do agree with, or would be okay with, is if it was axe throwing. that is the standard example for ASTA from now on. You know, there's a fee for axe throwing, whatever it is. I don't even know what it is. You don't say it's bowling. It's like $10. I don't know. Maybe I'm really old now, but it's like $10 a game, right? I have no idea what that costs. But, you know, saying, hey, we're going to all hang out, kind of pay your own way on the activity, I don't think is a terrible thing to ask or to say to members. Robin, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was just like we talked about last time, and like they talked about on CPC, and I had a conversation with my agents and Kyle from Central Florida talking about ASTA, and I think one of the main reasons is no-shows. Like our supplier showcase last year, we had, what was it, over 120 people registered and only 90 showed up. If they had just some skin in the game, $5, $10, just something, I think it would help with the no-show rate. And as they said in the CBC meeting, the money that we pay as ASTA members goes to national. The chapters get none of it. And so if we explain it that way, I think people will have less of an objection to paying for events when they're already paying for membership. So I do agree with the charging for events because, again, less no-shows, and even if it's just something, I do agree with that.
Trish.
And that would also then allow us to, you know, if we have to pay for a venue for an event, we would have a little bit of cash to be able to do that. So I like that too.
And Skylar, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I actually had this conversation with a couple suppliers probably about a month ago, and we were discussing how events are usually where people just come and they talk, right? But I like the idea about, if, like, for example, what if we were to do, if I were to find something at like a bowling alley, and we were to, maybe if a supplier were to come, or we do a thing like in the beginning half of it, and then we end with a whole bowling scene or something like that too. Then you kind of get that educational piece as well as this fun, engaging type piece as well. Could be a good idea, because a lot of people are prone to wanting to not just go to somewhere where they're just sitting there talking. They want to engage. They want to have fun. They want to do something that gets them out of the box. We're all out of office working all day, you know, to get out and get loose as well. So I think that could be a good idea too. If I were to potentially find, like, you know, there's like putt-putt places, and maybe they have a private room where they host birthday parties or whatever, a private room where the first 30 minutes to an hour is like a presentation, and then we treat people to a couple rounds of bowling or some putt-putt. I mean, again, it's to get people out and about, just to throw some ideas out there, because we were talking about suppliers. Sometimes people get burnt out with just going to and just talking. They want to do something that's fun, and that might be an incentive to really, you know, have something that's fun on top of the educational meeting piece too.
Sally likes putt putt. I have this feeling that Sally is like a putt putt shark. Sally, you probably score a 16 on an 18 round game, don't you? Like,
I don't bowl well either.
I bowl really good, just to off the records, but I'm just kidding.
We'll be on the same team, so you can cover me.
Yeah, I'm not on Tyler's lanes. That's we'll be on the lanes next door. Okay, so in terms of, so I think we're okay with starting to charge maybe more, at least when it's not a supplier. I mean, really, the supplier should be paying for things like, you know, space and or refreshments or something, and the chapter can chip in a little bit, but supplier events are really sales events. I like the idea of more social stuff. I like the idea of, you know, business buildery stuff, but let's not put the pressure of a schedule necessarily on ourselves. But we haven't done a whole lot of social stuff. We you know, Mitch threw out the idea for a picnic, but he hasn't been in the last couple of meetings, so we haven't heard from him on that. It's a month. We could do that in a month away and still make that happen. But what I want to avoid is this notion that everything rides or fails on any one person. I think Sally's done an amazing job of building a team around Showcase, and her team is phenomenal at it. We can do the same thing with events, right? There's a couple of roles where we can't do team approach per se, like Jennifer, legally you're the treasurer, so I mean, you're kind of stuck on that. But as far as things like events, I don't think there's any one reason that it needs to ride or die on one person. So whether that's kind of converting that to a team approach where, you know, Trish, don't take all the pressure of an event's scheduling and success and all of that on yourself, but if you coordinate other coordinators, you know, and harass people to plan a picnic or whatever it is.
Can I harass Mitch?
Yeah. I mean, and harass me. Harass John when he does the South one, since he jumped on that one.
What I need is, and I don't know if you guys know, because I know this is the board. I need not Skylar. He's awesome at it, but I know how busy he is. I need a connection with someone in Denver who can help me find venues, and then I might feel more successful. That's what I need.
So transitioning slightly, based on that point, I think we've got a few topics for newsletter stuff. So Robin, I know we transitioned it, and then we kind of like got lost in the weeds around ASTA Pack, not ASTA Pack. What are we going to talk about? We got a couple of mailings out around the showcase, which were fantastic. And so maybe for the next newsletter, we have a volunteer form on the website that people can like volunteer for stuff. And one of the things that's always kind of been on my mind with the Rocky Mountain chapter is level of engagement. We've got maybe a core of 20 to 30 advisors who show up to a lot of stuff out of the 200 and some odd members on the roster. So, and some of that's geographic, right? Like Judy said, we're huge. We get our annual notice from somebody in the South that wonders why we never do anything in the Springs. We've never done an event in Wyoming, to my knowledge, or even Fort Collins, to my knowledge. So maybe we kind of make our next newsletter all about, being more engaged, whether it's social stuff, asking for volunteers around, if venues in Denver, we need a venue coordinator. If you're in any way techie, you can update the website. A couple other things probably. So, and then of course, showcase volunteers, and then showcase itself, because that is our big annual event. Do we make our next newsletter all around that theme? Volunteers, engagement, plus sign up for showcase. We've got about a month and a half till the showcase. This is about when we start seeing everybody sign up. So it's time to push on that. Yeah, Skylar?
I also think if we were to do a survey or ask the question, not just say who wants to volunteer, but if you were just to ask who's done good venue, like asking, do people know of any good venues? Because I mean, there's plenty of us. I don't eat out a lot, but like there's plenty of us that go to restaurants, they go to events, they went to a certain social gathering. And so, yeah, somebody may not sit there and want to actually volunteer, be a part of the board or help out. But if we ask the question, who knows of any good venues that we could take in consideration? I think people would reach out. They ate at a really good restaurant a couple weeks ago, and they see that you could be hosting a venue. They might pitch, hey, what about the Yard House? What about this? Again, I just don't think always asking who wants. I mean, I do think that's a good question. Who wants to volunteer? But there's going to be people that would like to raise their voice without wanting to volunteer, but at least give us some suggestions. Could be a good approach.
Yeah, like I just went to a candlelight concert at the Kirk of Highland, which I thought was a church, but it's actually an event center. It's actually really kind of fantastic in there. Judy, you raised your hand?
Yeah. Since we're asking all the questions, you could maybe even throw out, is there something you would like to see us do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody has an idea. I don't know. And oh, by the way, we do have axe throwing in Cheyenne.
We are going to extend a special invite to Jasmine. She won't come because she's going on maternity, but I'm going to make sure she gets invited. Yeah.
If I know the name of a place that could be a possible venue, then I can call. I don't have to necessarily see it, but I don't even know where to begin to call. So yeah, if we just have the names of places.
Yeah. And John threw a comment in their Facebook page as well.
Yeah.
That's all perfect. So from a newsletter perspective, Robin, does that sound good? Just be like, where do you know and what do you want to do? And come to the showcase.
So Rob used to put the newsletter together and send it to me, and then I would just put it into the mail server and send it out. Do you want me to compose it, or do you want to compose it?
Do you feel okay composing it?
Sure.
If you want to take a first stab at it,
Okay.
I can edit it with you in HubSpot now that both know how to use that tool, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
I'm a better editor than I am a writer. This is why I use AI all the time for writing now.
Okay.
So I just edit AI stuff. Okay. I think that kind of what
That's feeling better.
you're feeling better?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome.
I do think a good question that we should ask, again, chiming back into what you were talking about, Jeff, is another question is, would people like to do fun activities as well? You know, I think that's a really, I mean, I do think we could build a lot of attraction doing that, you know, doing that. We're not just sitting and eating and talking. We're actually like, I mean, it's fun. It get competitive. Like maybe like you guys ever like remember field days? I mean,
Yeah.
like you get competitive. Like I enjoy that, you know, and so I think those are some questions too. Who would be interested of not just having, you know, educational events or whatever like that, but like some fun events? And you could put in, for example, putt, bowling. I mean,
With
we go
fellow
to Dave and Buster's. I don't know, like
Walkout is a great one.
we go to Go Paint. I don't know what people are interested in these days. So it's just, I think people are more, because you can also network there too. That's the thing, you know, and people like the competitiveness. They like to get away from their desk and do fun things as well. So again, just my suggestion.
Yeah. Awesome.
community building.
And I think that kind of leads will when people have that connection, they're going to start going to more events as well. So
I
We could
agree.
also do like a theme type thing too. Like maybe if we were to do like a luncheon, maybe once every other month, and we mix that up. Maybe this month we're doing Mexican, then we do Italian, then we, you know, I have a really good African restaurant, Wads and Kipling. Like again, some ideas that to get people going. And if we create a whole theme, it's like, okay, what does next month look like? I'm on a board of a couple other chapters, and one of that's an international travel. It's called Skull. We do different themes in different restaurants, and people get excited for that, you know, and they look forward to that. So that could be another option as well.
Sally, I wasn't sure if you were trying to speak or if you wanted to say something.
I was just looking in, and it's about 3:45, and Darlene has joined us. Thank you. And any minute now, I expect Heather to join us. And if we want to keep this meeting to an hour, we need to.
Yeah, we'll shift gears here because I'd also noticed the time. I think that this notion of doing additional events and figuring out, you know, we'll play around with pricing and that kind of thing, but that will kind of lead us to understanding what we do with our money, basically. And if we use the money, personally, I feel if we're using money to build more connection and community amongst our members, that's an excellent use of the money, as is advocacy fund donations or matching or whatever. Those two things, I think if we spent money on that, we'd call it a successful chapter use of funds, personally. That's my feeling on it. So yeah, we'll come back to the money question. In the meantime, Jennifer will just look at all the digits in our bank account. Although we're about to start writing checks. And speaking of writing checks, here is Heather. That was not what I intended to say, but we'll let Heather join. I've admitted her. Here she is. Hey, Heather, Darlene, on behalf of this team, thank you for all the work you are doing with the showcase. This is our most important event, and you gals are making it happen. So you are honorary board members as far as we're concerned. What was that, Sally?
No, I was laughing.
You
Honorary
don't have
board
to come
members.
all the time to board meetings.
You're honorary, so you get all the praise with none of the responsibility. Just awesome. All right, but you do have responsibility, and we really appreciate it. So, Sally, I'm going to turn this over to you. I don't have an agenda for this, so what do you need from us, or what do you want to share?
I sent out, I hope yesterday evening, an email with our schedule update. Judy got it. I don't know if yeah, John got it. Okay. And I just wanted, I'm going to take just a couple quick minutes to run through that. And then what we really need to talk about, and I don't know if other than Jennifer, Jeff, and the three of us from the showcase, we need to talk about who's in and who's out with the suppliers, because we're getting different ones of us are getting different emails is what's concerning me. But anyway, we are on track. I had two things for you, Jeff, from the July. You put the links onto everybody's logos on the website.
Mhm.
If you just put a phrase there, click on the logo to go to their link. I don't think that's there.
Okay.
And the other thing is that Skylar has done an amazing job of finding us another great place for our social the night before the event. And on the frequently asked questions, there's a thing about the social, and it says, stay tuned for more details. And we now have more details. So that needs to be updated. And I can forward you Skylar's email if you can find it to, that has all the information about the restaurant and everything. He's just another Italian restaurant, but this one's got a great bar space with high top tables so we can move around. Skylar's outdone himself again in finding us something. So I'm psyched about it. Yeah.
And Sally, are we taking a head count on that? Like, how do we, because we will they were requesting about a week prior to give them an idea about the food, like what we like to order. So I know we're going to do like a drink ticket, but they would like about a week before. So are we getting a head count? Or are we just saying come? I mean, it might be hard to, they would like to, when the event starts at 5 p.m., they would like to have the food ready. So how should we go about that?
You know, we have not asked people to RSVP. We could do a quick count on the board ahead to see how many of us, and we could just estimate. We could ask for an RSVP. I don't know how successful we'll be in getting that.
Okay.
And I'm okay with just asking them. Well, last time they were okay with, we did a certain amount of food to begin with, and we can estimate. And then if we need more, could they add more?
Yeah, they could definitely add more. They're not going to turn that down. I just think we should have definitely, I mean, if we're going to have 30 people, I think we definitely should have some food ready by the time it starts. And then we could always order more. So
I would say let's shoot for 30.
Okay.
I think last year we had 25. Maybe. Yeah, Trisha's remembering that.
Yeah.
So let's shoot for 30 to expect 30 and have food set up for 30 when we arrive. And then if they're okay with us ordering more partway through the evening.
Okay.
Does that give you enough information, Skylar?
Yeah, so maybe like a week before, I'll get with you, Sally, and we can kind of, I think if you can kind of help me on what you think is best to order, how much, the amount and stuff, I think that would be helpful. And I can go from there. And I'll keep them in mind that, hey, this is what our starting point is, because we're not taking RSVPs, but I'll give them the heads up that we may be ordering more. And I know they'll be receptive to that.
Usually they are. Yeah. Great. And thank you again, Skylar.
Yeah.
Robin, you're going to get out a newsletter with the invite and the link. The other thing, Trisha's ordered food. Jennifer's on top of everything. And the next email that goes out to suppliers will have the advisor invite in it and a request that they send the advisor invite to their advisors, which some of them did last year. So that's good. Jeff, I need to find out from you how many tablecloths we have left over and if you still have that big roll of raffle tickets. So I can order stuff from that. Costco. Oh, and Jeff, can you see the last 2 years, ASTA's given us a discount if people join or renew? I think the last 2 years they gave us $50 off.
Yeah. Sorry, my pen ran out.
Yeah, can you ask for that again?
I needed a new pen. Sorry about that. Yes, that is not a problem, and it's easy to get.
And also where you ordered the bags from, so we can order some more bags if we're going to go with the same bags with logos, which seemed like a good idea. We could order them in a different color if we wanted.
Sure.
Okay, so that's good. Other things, evaluations, emails. Okay, the other thing that, and for board members to, Trish is updating the advisor invite. And last year, a number of the board members sent out the advisor invite to your consortiums or your lists. And if we could just do that again this year. People did that last year, and that, I don't know how many it brought in, but I think brought in at least a few. And we have a meeting set up with Dina at the Lowry to go over, Udi's going to take over the facility liaison role. So yeah, so we're going to meet Monday with Dina and work out a few. I put together an agenda, had more on it than I thought once I got going on it. But anyhow, okay. So the thing couple things we need to know that we've gotten requests for. Paul Gauguin and Ponent want to combine and have one table instead of twos, and they are the same organization. And I told him that was okay. And they've both paid. And Jennifer, I looked up, if it's more than 60 days out, they get it all back. And if it's 30 to 60 days, they get 50, we keep $50.
Okay.
So if you want to reach out to, who was it that,
Barbara, right?
yeah, reach out to Barbara and look at what day she emailed you.
Okay. And how do we send it back? Send her a check back, or does it matter?
My guess is
They paid by a check.
yeah.
I'd say send them a check then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, find out how she wants it made out
Okay.
and where. Okay. And then we had another request. Jerry Harvey from SBC Global, which is Outrigger, requested to have another, to have two suppliers at one table, and would there be an extra fee? And she didn't say whether they're from the same company or not. And I'm thinking if they're from the same company, we say fine. And if they're from a different company, maybe we charge them $200. I don't know. Maybe we're just happy to have get another supplier in. Anybody have strong feelings about that one way or the other?
I think if they're just doing the same one table, then I don't see why we need to get more.
Works for me. Then it's less complicated. Done. Another comment? And then Antigua and Barbuda has canceled, and they hadn't paid yet, so there's not a big deal. And somebody else. Oh yeah, that's the only one. So has anybody heard from anyone that they want to cancel or double up other than Antigua and Barbuda is canceling? Paul Gauguin and Ponent are going together. Ponent. There's several that haven't paid, but she's on that. And then the real issue is we agreed that we would take 6 people off the wait list. And since then, we've had 2 other tables free up. And Heather might have some time to help you contact those suppliers, Jeff.
Okay.
Sally,
I would.
I've got one that Jerry
That's outrageous.
Dunlap. Okay, she wants to have a different person. Did we already talk about that? Did I miss the ball?
Did she want just another person, or did she want a whole nother company?
She says we have our headquarters with KSL in Cherry Creek, Colorado, and they would like to attend and share information on our luxury brand of hotels. So KSL, luxury brand of hotels.
And
so
are they,
this is
at Jerry's table or at a brand new table? Oh,
They
you
would
just
want to be at the same table.
Yeah, let's tell them okay. You and I can
Okay.
connect on that. If they're at the
Perfect.
same table, let's give it a go. Okay, so we right now have 8 tables open. If we do the 6 plus we've had 2 shift around. And so how many do we have on the wait list? Are we going to bring those people on? Are we going to bag it? We need to figure out so that we can get those people involved on the supplier emails. Did you contact any of the 6, Jeff?
I sent out, yeah, I did. I haven't heard them back yet. But I know that they'll sign up. A couple of them were on FAMs when I did it, and I just didn't follow up with them yet. So we've got.
Sorry to interrupt. I do have. I'm on the board of APTA, which is the Rocky Mountain chapter, and they were interested in hosting a booth. Is there going to be availability? Because I can reach out to our president and say, "Hey, is this something we can still do?"
You put that on the wait list.
Yeah, under my name, obviously, but
that's okay.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. So we've got the 6 that we've extended the invite to, and you said we now have 2 more, right? So Skylar's number 7, and then
as an APTA is number 7.
It just shows me your email address.
The wait list. Yeah. Sorry, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skylar's number 7. And then there's a Michael Fanley from Price Agencies as number 8.
And he wants to come in.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do to get those 8 nailed on and paid?
I think the best option is for them to email and do a manual registration. I'm concerned if we just expand the number of tickets. I mean, we have 2 options, right? We can expand the number of tickets and then hope that no one else signs up, like swoops in for a spot. We could disable the link so that it's not on the website anymore.
And send the link to those 8?
Send the link to those 8. Then we don't have the whole manual process that I had started before.
Let's do it that way.
Okay, so just to confirm, there is a spot available that I can reach. I'm going to literally call her right after this meeting. I can go ahead and invite for APTA. And
Yeah.
what is that cost again? I do apologize.
Let me look on the website.
So I would set it by waitlist date personally. That's my suggestion. So the first 6 all got on the wait list before the date change, before the price change.
Right.
And then Skylar, you got on the wait list for APTA on July 22nd. So I would say their price should be whatever date they got on the site.
Okay.
Or we just say screw it because we have so many people sign up and just set it at the pre-July price.
I'm okay with that. The only ones that would pay the higher price would be Skylar's group and Michael. Right? Those last 2.
I would love to offer them if we could, the cheaper price because they're a local chapter as well. I think we can all benefit and help, for each other. But again, that's up to you guys, and I'll leave it to you on that.
Well, and do we consider them member or non-member? ASTA, they're not an ASTA member, right?
I mean, it's an association. I don't know if Olga is an ASTA member. She's our current president, but I mean, I'm a board member and I'm an ASTA member, obviously, but.
So that would make it $490.
$490 is what the booth price is.
It's the ASTA price before July 1.
Okay, so $490.
Yep. And the non-ASTA price is $750. It's a chunk more. No. It's $545. It's $545 for non-members.
Yeah, and personally, I'm okay with keeping the pre-July 1st pricing. I mean, we set that to inspire people to sign up early, right? We got our numbers far and
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So that driver is not necessarily there. And I'm not really keen on going nuts over a couple $100.
So again, we're at 4:00. Jeff, can you contact Heather to let her know how she could help you move this forward?
Yep, I will.
Okay. The other
Here's
thought
what I'm
I
going
have,
to do. I'm going to take the link off. I'm going to take the supplier registration link off of our website and then reopen with a few additional tickets, and then we can ship out. And then Heather, I'll send you the list of people that are on the wait list that are eligible to sign up.
Okay, great.
Cool.
great, and then we can follow up. The only other thing I had is you do an outstanding job, Jeff, of doing a website and stuff. But if we don't have another volunteer, I'm trying to back myself up on everything. So like Udi's backing me up on the facility, and Darlene is backing up Heather on the communications. And if we don't have somebody to back you up on website, why don't we just pay to get somebody to update things when we need it? It wouldn't have to be that much. We've got money. And it would be great if I could just contact somebody who's got time and say, hey, can you put the supplier social on the website? Here's the information. And so I move that we pay for a techie to update the website as needed. Anybody want to second that? Robin? All in favor?
I
Aye. Yeah. Let's just get it so that we get stuff. I mean, there's a limit to what you can do.
No problem with that. We need to find that person. And they're going to have to be okay with using the Weebly platform unless we want to opt for paying for a whole new website.
No, we're not doing that. So how do we go about finding that person?
Jennifer,
I'm not
you got
sure.
someone in CNI?
Yeah, I was gonna say I do have a BNI. I don't know if he does that Weebly, but I do have a BNI contact.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is it we need? Weebly?
Yeah. So, and it's not hard. It's drag and drop. If you've got someone in your BNI network that could potentially just help with basic website updates ad hoc, then and tell them that we use Weebly as our site software, site manager, Weebly. Then if they're willing to do it, give us a quote, give us a rate, we'll approve it, and then schedule a time, and I'll just show them the madness if they're not familiar with it.
Cool. No, he's very good. He did my website, so he's very good.
Perfect.
Jeff, are you the one that uploaded all the logos on here? Just curious.
Yeah.
Can I don't know, my logo is kind of messed up on here. It doesn't have the tagline or anything like that. Can I just send you our normal logo? If you could just update that.
Yeah.
Okay. I just email that over. Is it PNG or JPEG better?
Doesn't matter.
PNG. Okay.
PNG.
I just sent it to you.
I think I have like a SVG or an EPS of your logo, and it might have just exported funny.
Yeah, because obviously with logos you have the tagline, and the tagline's missing on it. So I just emailed it to you.
Okay. Yeah, Robin?
How many advisors are registered at this point?
Oh,
37.
okay. And can Trish get access to that so she can track how many for the committee? Is that our usual event sign up?
It is. And Trish, I thought you had access to it.
I think I do.
Okay.
The only thing I had struggled with was, and I think I sent it out, I created the invite was created, but I can't add a link to a PDF. You have to have like Adobe Acrobat Pro, and I don't have that. So
I just sent it back to you with the link.
oh, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
And
Because I
then,
do have Acrobat.
and Trish, why don't you get that out to all the people on the committee and to all the board members?
I will, as soon as we
And
hang
that
up.
way everybody can start getting it out to their contacts. We can get it out to the suppliers.
Perfect.
All right. We ran a little over, but we're done, I think.
I think. Is
Yep.
there any other topics to discuss?
Thank you, Darlene and Heather, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you everyone for your support and understanding. If you know anybody that wants to help me with venues, I'm happy to continue to do. And I like the direction that we're thinking of going. So
Sweet. Awesome.
Do we have other suppliers that are still waiting to, that could potentially to join us, or do we get all the suppliers in with the extra table?
We have, hang on, I'll go back to that page. So we have the 8 that we've approved for, right? So we've got names for that. Then there are 4 more. Well, no, there's 3 more because KSL we're going to just put without rigorous table.
Yeah,
So-
and Heather just sent me another one. So
Okay.
I'm going to direct them. Well, I'll just tell them we'll add them to next year's email list.
Okay.
Yeah.
you.
So we could potentially even have 4 more. And as it gets closer, last year we got more requests. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I think we're pretty maxed out for this year.
Okay.
Thank you, Darlene. Yeah.
Yep.
So last time we talked about wanting to have the date and location for 2025 set
yeah.
prior to the showcase. Showcase is only 6 or
weeks.
7 weeks away. So we still need to have that conversation.
Andrea's working on sites. And Jeff, you went to somewhere you said you thought was a church, but it was would that be a potential for?
I don't think they have space for the
Breakout.
presentations. Yeah, the breakouts. They have
That's often the issue.
they have the old sanctuary upstairs, and they have basically a very large room downstairs, and that's kind of it. So
That
Yeah.
won't work. Okay. My ears perked up when you mentioned it.
it would be cool for something smaller, but not something showcase sized.
Mhm.
And it's also like a minimum 9-hour rental, so something medium sized for us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Do we need to vote to adjourn? I move we adjourn.
we do.
What is
We
our
don't
next
normally do that.
date? Next meeting?
So
date?
our next meeting date is typically going to be Wednesday, September 18th. The problem with that is that that's legislative days for national. Who is anybody on this call going to legislative day? Judy is.
No, but that's also the week that our consortium has its conference. So Trish, Darlene, and I are in Vegas.
Okay. The next option is Wednesday the 25th. Is that, but that's only a week out from the showcase. So we could
Should we
look
do
at September 11th, which I may or may not be in Mexico. It's kind of starting
yeah.
to be. I'm not going to be. So Sally, I'm going to prioritize showcase needs on this one. Do you need a meeting further away from the showcase, or is a week before the showcase?
Think so. We've got the committee. The committee is meeting on the 12th. And if there's anything what we need to do a week out is just make sure everyone knows what time to show up. And I was going to try and assign roles, so when we got there, people knew what was going on. And let me see if there's anything else that's 2 weeks out on our form. It's mostly committee stuff that we need to do 2 weeks out. I think a week out is fine.
Okay. Is the 25th okay for anyone left on the call?
It's fine. Do we want to try to do you want me to try to find a venue? Should we bug Mitch? What do we want to do about September, an event?
Bug Mitch.
Okay, I'll email
Yeah.
him.
See what he says. If he doesn't say anything in a couple of days, let's go look at the park's website or ask the Hales where they went before,
Okay.
and just try to book that again.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
That's as easy as, hey, let's all get together in a park and bring some food.
Yeah, okay.
Like, yeah. Cool.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.